Hey everyone, we're going to have a go at this lovely beach scene. So this has come from one of my subscribers on my Facebook group. I take requests and we're going to have a go at this one today. So I have got a piece of Saunders Waterford 5 by 7 inches, my trusty Cotman palette. I have got a round number 10, a round number 6, a number 2 rigger and a small flat as well. I've given my colours a little bit of a spritz with water just to get them activated. What we're going to do is take the water about halfway. So we're just going to create a line. This is with my round number 10 and I'm going to put lots of clean water on towards the sky. Get that as nice and even as I can. You want no dull bits, no puddles, so take your time coming over. It's a really lovely blue sky. I have got some cerulean blue and I'm going to dot this in. So it's quite a wispy cloudy sky, so I'm going to try and leave some gaps to create that wispy cloud. I have a couple of choices when it comes to this. I can come in and do a full sky and then lift out, or I can try and leave some gaps, and I've decided to dot in and try and just leave some gaps this time because there's quite a lot of wispy cloud. So this is just cerulean blue. I'm going to bring that towards the bottom. So I've got a nice horizon line. I'm going to pop some trees along here as well. You can use a smaller brush. I'm using my round number 10 for ease. I'm taking a little bit more colour in towards the top. And I'm just dotting and dabbing it in. So I want those little gaps to stay there. Okay, I'm going to swap down to a number 6 now. I'm going to take a little bit of sap green. I'm just going to push this over so you can see this. And I want this to be a little bit darker, so I've got a bit of ultramarine blue there I can take in, and I'm going to take something a little bit brown, so that's a bit of burnt umber. That's just to set it back a little bit. And then with my number 6, I'm going to dot along this line, so you can see I'm keeping my brush upwards, that tip upwards, and I'm going to vary the pressure, and I'm going to get this lovely tree line. And it literally comes all the way across. It's like a little bay of water. I'm going to bring this all the way across. And vary that height. There's some bigger ones this side, smaller ones that side. You've got a really nice soft tree line. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my flat. I'm going to try and get some of this bigger tree in where it's nice and soft. So the first colour that I'm going to pick up is cadmium yellow. Then I'm going to bring one side of the brush into a bit of the green. We're just going to dot in. So I'm dotting in, and can you see how I'm twisting at the same time? I'm going to get this nice base of this tree in. So I'm going to pick up some green this time and then a bit of the yellow. The good thing about using a flat brush is you can see the different colours you've got on there. And then dabbing in. You want this to be nice and thick colour. So a bit of each again. And you're just going to get this nice big tree shaped, twisting as you go, so you get this variety. And the main tree itself does come over the trees in the distance, so we're just going to take that over as well. All right, take a little bit more green in. and I'm going to touch into the ultramarine blue as well, so I can get some darker bits just coming underneath. It's a bit darker in places. Bit of green, touch of blue. That's working really, really nicely. Just going to rinse that off, dab it off. I'm just going to come into some green on its own. Make sure you're dabbing it off so you're not taking too much water in at this stage. I can just bring some of that sap green through, just to get a really nice, I want the glow of the yellow to be there but not too much. It needs to have a real depth. So that's working really nicely now. So I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dried. I'm going to wet with my round number 10 this bottom section now. We're going to get the sweep of the sand in and the bay of water. So that's going to come in this bottom section, and then we can pop a little bit of detail in. So I have cleaned off my cadmium yellow, so I don't have a raw sienna in this set, so I'm using what I have. But if you had a raw sienna, that would be the perfect colour to use, or a bit of a yellow ochre. So I'm going to bring this through, just to show you that you can get away with doing this with a yellow anyway. And then the bay, it comes from here round, so it sweeps round. I'm going to have that nice sweep in there. I'm going to dot into a little bit of the burnt umber and just bring that through in patches, and that is just going to make it look a little bit more sandy like. I want it to be nice and light at that back bit. So what I'm now thinking is, where's the bottom of this tree coming, because there's going to need to be a bit of shadow. So I'm going to pop that in just there. So that's filling in nicely there. And rinse my brush off, dab it off, and then I'm coming into the cerulean blue. I'm going to pop this bay in. So cerulean blue will stay put as long as you haven't got too much on there. So dab it off and you can just sweep that in, and it's going to give you that sense of the bay being there, and it connects everything together. Sometimes when you do it and you're doing it and it's a dry line there, it can look a bit harsh, so you can actually even just spread a little bit of that up on the bank, and that will all connect together. If I swap down to a number 6, check that's clean and dry, pick up a little bit more of the cerulean blue, I can bring that in a bit stronger, horizontal lines. And it really is as simple as that to create a beach. Okay, I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. I'm just going to dip into, it's a little bit of burnt sienna. I'm just looking at the shape of this tree, and I'm going to start to bring down the branches or the trunk. Bring these through. So I'll start with the burnt sienna, and then I might take a bit of burnt umber in. So this is with a round number 6. I'm just getting the main shape. It's a very different tree to what we have in the UK. So I'm carefully looking at it as I go to make sure that I'm getting it right. I'm going to come into a little bit of the burnt umber now. Just dab my brush into a bit of water. I can just darken some of these up. Some are a bit lighter, some are a bit darker because they're behind and silhouetted a little bit more. So I'm just going to pop in a few. It's quite nice to get some edges. So you've got a dark side and a light side on some of these as well. It's coming in onto the ground here. So if I just take a little bit of that burnt umber like that, I'm going to rinse my brush, dab it off on the kitchen towel, then I can just soften that edge in so that I've got a nice edge there. And it's an edge and it's created the shadow. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is with that damp brush is just touch in at the tops so that those are softened in. And then if I take a little bit of the sap green, I can just dab this through at that damp edge so that you don't end up with it just finishing at a stump. They will blend together a little bit, and you can dot some bits of that green a bit lower. If I dip into a little bit of the ultramarine blue as well, that's going to make it slightly darker. That underside edge. It's random dabbing. And don't ruin everything you've already created because it's looking lovely. You don't want to ruin that. If I just take my rigger, just have a little closer look at the photograph. There is a few darker branches underneath. I'm just going to pop just a few just underneath like so. And again the same, just with the damp brush, just soften it in, so just dab and then it won't look too harsh. You can dab on the side of the tree trunks as well, just to soften those little bits in. Okay, so if I'm just going to take a little bit more of the burnt umber onto my round number 6, I'm going to bring that underneath. I'm just going to wet my brush a little bit, dab off and just bring that through. I want a little bit more shadow. Just along that edge. So I'm getting that little bit more shadow. I'm following the direction. And then again with a wet brush I'm going to dab in to that burnt umber mix and just dot a few little bits on. The beach is looking a little bit too neat. Take a few strokes through here. And we're just going to mess it up a little bit with a few random dabs. Then I'm going to come into the cerulean blue with a number 6 and just pop in a couple of waves coming towards the shoreline. And then with a little bit of ultramarine blue, just going to dot in a little bit at the back here, just to darken that, just on the tree line. And then I'm just going to soften in just underneath, so that spreads that round. And just soften in at the top a little bit. So this is just dampening my brush this base sort of sweeps around and I haven't quite got that showing. I'm going back into that darker green. So I'm going to sweep this round here. So it's just creating that little bit more of a bay just there. So it sweeps around a little bit more. So that's just a little bit of that green. I've just tried to just soften those bits in just a little bit so that it's not too prominent in the distance. Okay, I'll dry that one off. And there we have a super simple beech tree combination. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do find my Facebook group, pop your results up on the page. The link is in the description of the video and I shall see you next time. Bye.